Behold, a cold open. So this is an Anime Sickos first. We are recording in the morn. We are historically afternoon and evening people. I am actually a morning person. Tom, however, has never even suggested we record in the morning until yesterday. Tom, how are we feeling? How are we doing, Tom?
Okay. I now know that God does not exist. I have proof. Because I have been praying more fervently than anyone has ever prayed for anything, for you to be dead. And here you yet are, chattering on, though it be 9 a.m.
I am my best self in the morning, so you were not praying enough.
So fucking... Oh, the morning is so bad. Like... We were having our little pre-show, like, warm-up, talking, and I'm just, like, feeling my head droop. And I had, Joe, the sleep I did have was marred by I had a dream that a robot was going to try and come get me, but no one was scared but me. Only I was taking the robot seriously. Don't you hate that?
Was this like a Cylon where it looked like a person, or was this a very, like, a boxy robot?
It was a boxy robot, which is why it was even stupider. No one else seemed to be afraid of it.
Honestly, if I had an honest-to-God killer robot design, I would make it look like that, because no one would take it seriously until, like, it wipes out a city block.
So you actually, you're not joking. You've got the verve in the morning. How?
Yeah. How? Well, during the depression recovery, and recovery is ongoing and never ends, it was sort of one of those things where I realized that, like, okay, if I take control of my morning, I will have some amount of time for myself, some sort of stake in the ground, in a day that is otherwise, it could be very bad. And there's also this sort of, like, idiot logic that, like, anything I do in the morning is like I double did it. Like, I get double dopamine. The trick is, and I'm serious here, is you have to figure out how to trick your very sleepy self. Like, for a while, it's like I had to wake up and do a task. So, like, I would just wake up and immediately I would go do laundry, and it worked. I'd wake up because I'd be like, oh shit, I'm doing a thing. This is awesome. And then, then work took that from me.
Huh.
I mean, any job would.
Yeah. I've never... Wait. If I had my way, I'd wake up at 10:30 every morning, regardless of when I went to bed. I hate this morning shit. It's a fucking racket. I remember my mom loves to tell this story, especially now with the benefit of time, that one time my dad didn't have work for whatever reason. Usually at work. You know how that goes with work. How you
dads go to work.
Dads do go to work. So it was two things happened out of the ordinary. One, my dad was not going to work that day, and two, I missed the bus to high school. So my dad said, "Oh, I'll give you a ride, son." And he went into it expecting, like, what a treat.
Did he think quality time with his son? Did he want that?
He thought quality time was happening for sure. One-on-one time, just kick back and chat a bit before school. You know, I never get to have this because of my work. And he comes back to my mom, like, ashen-faced, and is like, did we do something? Like, does he hate us? Like, my mom is just like, no, he does not hate us. The thing he hates is the time that it is. Yes, yeah, like, is the fucking earth, and all in it, and it will wear off in an hour or two. And,
I'm reminded of how many examples of, like, persuasive writing or essays we did in high school, and the topic was that high school should start a little later because teens are better when they sleep in. And, like, I remember having to do papers on this all the time, which is torture because like they're not going to change their mind. You're right.
Yeah.
You're doing homework about like I'm a sleepy guy and I think I should be allowed to come in a little later, and they're like, that is really well written. No.
I think that actually the educational purpose of that is not to teach you about writing or teach you about persuasion or rhetoric, but to get you familiar with and comfortable with the truth that clear and obvious evidence that a certain course of action is the best possible course of action and to do otherwise is insanely dumb and limiting yourself on purpose, that evidence is not actually meaningful to anyone. And it will never be used to set policy. And you make sure you know that real quick. Like, there's not a single shred of evidence that starting high school at 8 fucking a.m. is any good. Anyway, we're actually going to starting earlier. That was, I mean, I say it as a gag, but that happened to me. My sophomore year of high school, my high school decided we're starting earlier.
That's fucked up. That's so funny. There was no government official that stepped in. They should.
I don't know.
Pritzker wouldn't have let that happen.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses, and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery, anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko. Tom, you sounded a little NPR at the start. I think it's because you're tired and murderous.
Yeah, I'm drinking my coffee. I'm sipping my coffee, but I don't think it's doing it. You're gonna have to be the Tom of this episode. Do your best. So we had in our beloved city a day where there was more rain than there's ever been.
All right, there was that NASCAR event. So there was a NASCAR street race through Chicago.
No one wanted this. It shut down the entire fucking most tourist-friendly part of the city.
This was seen as like a thanks, Lori. You don't even get reelected to polish this turd.
I also saw that like the city only got like $600,000 out of it.
So there's a lot of reasons not to like it. One of them was that I guess for half of it, it just rained. Like, it never has rained more. The rain gauge at Midway Airport, like the rain scientist looked at it and his eyeglasses fell off.
I thought you were going to say his eyes fell out. That would be pretty cool.
It's not that much.
I don't think it was the most rain Chicago's ever had, but it definitely was the record for like that day. There's no July 2nd that ever had so much rain. We went to the grocery store that day like fucking idiots, and there's a lot of rain. And I don't know if you know this, auto racing kind of is based on the assumption that like the ground's dry.
Or there's some traction. Just like a little.
Anyway, all this is to say, I saw a GIF of one of these fucking cars sliding for like a full mile directly into the big wall of tires because it was just like you're pure water now. There's no.
This is an expensive slip and slide.
It was really funny.
All of this is to say, though, so we were pretty like negative on the idea of the race, and then this is how easy it is to change our mind. Someone who in the past has tweeted about how our show is good was like, "I'm really excited about this. It was a great race." And then they also retweeted that the ratings for this race were the highest. I don't even remember, for a while. It was a hit.
Hit for NASCAR. Okay.
It was a hit for NASCAR. So all this is to say, my favorite politician is Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah,
she's the best. I love her fucked up suits.
People talk shit about auto racing, but this is actually a legitimate sport. You know, this is not something to be laughing at. Auto racing is popular worldwide. Shit. Okay. So the thing about this, about it being a hit, is that, like, the cool thing about this race, that it was, like, on streets and on a course that wasn't a big egg, that I believe actually required some right turns, is that, like, if you were watching that, if you're a new fan, and you tune into your next NASCAR race, none of that shit's coming back.
Oh, no, because it was a hit, we are going to just become, like, a colony for people to drive around in now.
Oh, great. Fuck this. We're going to become Monaco. No.
Yeah.
Oh, people were also saying you would love if it was F1, how Eurocentric and snobbish. Well,
those cars go way faster.
They go way faster. They look way cooler. Stock cars look so goddamn dumb.
Stock cars kind of look like my car with a bunch of ads. I will never have a vehicle that looks like an F1 vehicle. Like that, it's a spaceship.
The fucking big, like, plastic shell on the stock car that makes it look like a sedan is the silliest thing in the universe, because it's like, why are you faking? Like, you could look like anything. Like, it's a fake shell. Like, that's not... I can tell that you just clipped the shell onto the real car.
It should be plane-shaped. They go way faster.
It should be plane shaped, and planes can fly in the rain just fine. They don't care about it being slippery.
This is actually a perfect segue, all this car talk, because Tom and I are going to talk about us going to Asteroid City to see the movie Asteroid City. It's not a real place.
We didn't go there. That would be so cool if we were in the movie. What if people went to see it and we were in there and we were just like, oh, jeez.
I would love to stand strangely in a perfectly centered Wes Anderson shot. Anyway,
before we move on, just one more thing. I know this is stupid. I just want to give a shout out to the hero who the day before the NASCAR race drove onto the track somehow. I'd like to imagine it was an accident. I know it wasn't, but, like, god damn.
Just like, where is the ramp to get off this thing?
Joe was like, if it was us, like, that's how, like, we would just, like, get on there by accident and we'd run out of gas before we could get out. It's pretty good. Anyway, Wes Anderson. So here's the real reason. It wasn't for content. I just wanted to see Asteroid City, and I had recently seen a movie at the theater near me. I saw Across the Spider-Verse, which I desperately want Joe to watch these fucking movies so we can do an episode about it, because it's anime.
Can I interject? Because I have a perfect bridge between car talk and this Wes Anderson movie, because in the previews there was a preview for the Gran Turismo movie, and it caused Tom to writhe in pain like he was being hit by radiation.
I hate this fucking trailer and this fucking movie and the entire concept. I know that every movie now is an ad for a product, like the Barbie movie that everyone's excited for. That's an ad for product. There was the fucking Nike movie. There was the BlackBerry movie. There's a
Beanie Baby movie.
Beanie Baby movie. It's just ads.
Was the Nike movie the one where it was getting the Michael Jordan deal, or is that a different movie?
I think that is it, yeah. Called Air.
Okay.
Air Jordan. Wouldn't make sense to call the movie Air without Michael Jordan. Unless, like, the guy who invented Nike always famously said, like, thank God I can breathe air and thus make a shoe. But anyway, the Spider-Verse movies are anime, like, quite literally. But Joe hasn't seen them yet. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pushing this. But anyway, the point being, there's a Regal near me, and the Regal sucks shit. One, it used to have a parking garage that was free because the arms didn't work. They didn't go down, so the parking garage was free. And then they added, like, Spot Hero QR code parking, which is extremely confusing because different floors of the parking garage have different, like, companies that put the QR codes up. So you're like, wait, did I do the right one? And you have to scan this QR code on a stupid like billboard in the parking garage and pay on an app. Not even an app. It opens up a mobile version of a web page, which is the most untrustworthy thing in the universe. And you have to pay there. If you don't pay there, you get an $80 fine, the next day. It's so confusing. It's designed so that old people pay $80 when they go to a movie. You go to the theater sucks ass. And then the worst thing of all is there's the Regal Theaters ad that I I tell people if they don't know about this, like I'm tempted to be like look it up and watch it, but also like don't, because it would be like, oh, I hate heroin. Here, inject this into your arm, you'll hate it. I'm like, don't do it. But it is a ad where a bunch of people are going to the movies and they zoom in on different groups at different parts of the process, like coming to the door, getting your ticket, getting your snacks, sitting down.
So far, this seems like pretty good housekeeping.
Well, Joe, the only spoken words in this entire ad are quotes from movies taken entirely out of context that sort of like halfway to a third of the way apply to the situation going on right now. And they are all delivered in a very familiar way, which if you have gone to college, you're going to know all about this.
The yelling guy?
Yeah, like an idiot who thinks that the fact that they have just thought
Rick James, bitch.
Yeah, like the fact that I've thought of this quote is so goddamn funny. Wait till you hear it, you're gonna love it. Like straining to not laugh at their own joke. And if you're a normal human being who's lived in the world, you know that the correct response to someone speaking in this way is to wish for their death. However, you soon see that in this Regal ad, they have decided to set it in hell because everyone hears this and repeats back an even smarmier line. And one of the worst things, so one of the worst ones fucking ever, because it doesn't even make sense. Like at least part of it makes sense. Like the quotes halfway fit. But at one point, a guy asks if he can sit in the theater next to these people, and they say, "You can't sit with us," which I think is from Mean Girls.
Yeah, I think so too.
And he responds from Dumb and Dumber, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
No, he said no. They said no.
Anyway, I didn't want to watch that fucking Regal ad again. You thought the Gran Turismo fucking trailer got me, which I hate that shit because it's an ad, obviously, but it's also an ad for a video game where
it encourages gaming. The point is, if you get good at gaming, the Super F1 secret lab guys will come get the best gamers and then send them through a de-nerding program where they learn to walk fast.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's called Gran Turismo. There's no number, folks, because there's going to be one every year.
Yeah, it's just literally the whole point of the movie isn't Gran Turismo such a great game? It taught this kid how to do real car racing. But you can buy it yourself at home today. Why don't you? Anyway, this all fucking sucks. The point being, Joe lives near a theater that doesn't suck so bad. We went to see Asteroid Theater, and we went to see Asteroid City there because I wanted to see it. I'm like, I need an excuse to go to that theater, and the excuse is let's see it together. Slam dunk.
Yes, it's a nice theater. It is dystopian in the sense that, like, if you want to order anything from concessions, you have to use the iPad while a huge squad of teens look on, waiting for you to push the button. Like, you can't say I would like popcorn. They have to wait for the thing. And it's not their fault. That's how it's set up.
I mean, I was brought to mind when we saw Avatar 2 in this self-same theater at 10 a.m., which again was very difficult for me. And like we were truly like the only humans in the theater, and like the only humans who would be there for hours to come. And
there was like 20 people working concessions.
Yes, and like we go up and be like, "Hello, fellow human. Give me a popcorn, please." And they're like, "Turn around, fucker. You got to tap on that piece of shit." And it's like, "Wait, huh? But why?" And they're just like, The boss said so.
It was. I didn't love it. It was just another reminder that like there can be a choice that's bad for everyone involved,
and that no one has the. Even if you point that out, they're just like shrug. I called it as soon as you were like, "Let me get a water bottle." Because we were going with our wives, and I said to the wives, 100% Joe goes up like a normal human being and says, "1 water, please." And they're like, "You fucker, you trash. Go input that on the touch screen over there." And it happened exactly as I had predicted.
Yes. So I got my water. We settled in. We saw some previews for a movie.
Yeah.
The Joel Coen lesbian road trip heist movie looks pretty fun.
Does indeed.
That's all I remember other than Tom's reaction to Gran Turismo.
There's this bit in Gran Turismo where David Harbour, who's like the racing coach, is like, "You're telling me some video game pimply couch nerds are gonna drive my cars? I don't think so. Someone would have to play a lot of Gran Turismo to get to that level of skill." And I'm like, "I'll kill you." Anyway, we saw Asteroid City. My top line review, I loved it. I think it's one of Wes Anderson's best.
I really enjoyed it. I think less than Tom by his statement there, but I did really like it.
Yeah. So maybe part of it was as soon like I could kind of tell this right away because as soon as it was over, because this is like we'll get into it, but like it's a very dense and like layered movie. It's like it's got a lot of stuff in the diorama. Would you believe it's a diorama? But it's got a lot of stuff in the diorama, and I was like trying to like pour together like how it all fit, like what it all meant, and I was like I wanted to talk about it, and Joe's response was like, "This guy loves little boxes," and I'm like, okay, well,
he does. He loves them so much. All of the motor cabins were little boxes. When people are literally having their dialogue to each other, they're each in a box as they speak to one another. But let's
when there's the framing device, the aspect ratio changes such that it is a box like an old TV.
Oh yes, there's that as well. So let's like many Wes Anderson movies, I would describe this as an ensemble cast.
An ensemble cast of, I'll say it, kooky guys. People like this was going around the other day on Twitter that people were sharing Grand Budapest Hotel clips and were like, "What the fuck? How come no one told me Wes Anderson was actually funny?" And it's like, you've seen like his movies have so many gags. Like that's the thing that like when people,
it's all no sold. Like everything gets no sold.
Yeah,
in his movies, it's not like, oh, this is a joke.
But like, there's many gags. When people try to say like Wes Anderson is pretentious and twee and too precious by half, it's like, are you not hearing all the gags? Like these are like belly laughers. These are not sly gags. These are like big, broad gags.
So my favorite Wes Anderson movies are Life Aquatic, for the reason Tom is saying. It's like if you can watch Life Aquatic and don't pick up on the jokes, it's like then there's just a signal issue. You're missing things. Like Life Aquatic is so funny because of the artifice of the Wes Anderson like style. Like this movie, Asteroid City, it's Box's City. This is also a reflection on like his own work in many ways. It's the movie about his movies.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But with Life Aquatic, there's such an elevated sense of like dignity because it's a nautical expedition. The global documentary society is like a red carpet affair. So there's a lot more goof gravity when you're dropping jokes from that height. Does that make sense? Fucking when they rescue Jeff Goldblum from the island and they are running to the boat, there's like many of Wes Anderson's shots. There's like a pretty static shot of them coming down some stairs and running left on the beach. And at one point, someone tries a walkie-talkie, and it's like, it's not working. And they hand it to this other guy. And then he, like, just takes 4 steps and then, like, cartoonishly spikes it on a rock and just keeps going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just, like, shit like that. Like, how can you see that and not know this is Looney Tunes.
I thought you were going to talk about the shot, which is, I mean, our opinions on Life Aquatic are sort of the exact opposite of our opinions on Asteroid City. You love it. I think it's pretty good, but not one of the best. And but I have to admit that like one of the best shots in any of his movies, and probably one of the best gags in film, is when they are again coming to rescue Jeff Goldblum, who's been kidnapped by, I forget who kidnapped him.
Like pirates.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's the reason I don't really like the movie as so much as Joe, is because like the plot is sort of like really not there. It's just I mean, the gags are good enough that it's still very good, but like it'd be even better if the plot was a little bit more there. Anyway, the point being, they're rescuing Jeff Goldblum, and it's a big sort of action thing. And Steve Zissou, Bill Murray, is like, this is gonna be like my redemption because I've been a piece of shit my whole life, but I'm gonna help my buddy or enemy. I forget who Jeff Goldblum is to him. Anyway,
he's his ex-wife's new husband. I think.
Yeah, so it's definitely a redemption to do that. And so they bust open the door, and we see Jeff Goldblum is playing cards genteelly and friendlily with his captors, as though he was hanging out and having a good time. And what fucking happens, Joe?
He says, "Steven, are you rescuing me? I fold." And then all the people on the other side of the table just shoot him. And not fatally, he's like running around the movie bleeding for the rest of that scene, which is, there's a really, again, a nice panning shot on the escape boat when they get off that island. He is like hunched over holding his wound while smoking.
Mm-hmm. I love that shit. So a good, like any good Wes Anderson movie, we got gags in Asteroid City. There's gags. I'm not going to say every gag, but I will say the first thing that happens in the movie, and what a stupid gag it is.
Yes.
Is our man Jason Schwartzman, who plays Wes Anderson. I'd make a joke that he plays Wes Anderson, but truly, all of the characters play Wes Anderson. He's playing like a photographer whose wife has died, and he has not yet told his 4 children because he is too emotionally fragile to discuss it with them and thus make it real. Anyway,
yeah, I think there's 3 kids, but yeah.
There's 3 little girls, and then there's Woodrow, the boy.
Oh, I don't even know why I just assumed he came out of the ground.
Anyway, it's because you don't respect autistic people.
No, don't. It's absolutely not it.
I know, I'm teasing you. Anyway, so their car breaks down in Asteroid City. Luckily, they were intentionally trying to get there, but their car is also broken down. And the mechanic puts their car up on the hydraulic thing, and it's like, okay, I've seen this same exact problem in this same exact model twice before. First time, it was the easiest fix of all time. Took 20 minutes, 75-cent part. Second time, it required a total overhaul of the car, full diagnostic, and it ended up having to do an entire rebuild of the engine from scratch, and it still didn't run after that. And they're like, well, which one's ours? He's like, I guess there's only one way to find out. And he takes the teeny tiniest little screw in the entire universe and screws it into this little doodad at the bottom of the car so daintily. And let's go. And they like go back for a second. And then Wes Anderson loves to put stop motion into live action movies every once in a while. And then some fucking piece falls out of the car, and it is a stop motion, like moving, like alive thing. Going like,
there's just like a chunk of the car that's possessed. It looks like a dancing thing from Gumby.
And the mechanic's just like, I guess you got a third thing.
It's like, yeah, that I've never seen before.
And I was like, okay, I like this.
Yes. So Jason Schwartzman is, I would say, the main character. As Tom has said, he has 4 children, a gaggle of 3 girls who like exist as a unit. Like they're supposed to just be funny say a bunch of shit at the same time.
And he's also, I mean, this is also, he's that guy. But let's pull back to the framing device as well. He is actually, there's 2 framing devices. The first, though, the most zoomed out, is we're actually watching an anthology TV series hosted by Bryan Cranston, where this week we're gonna put on a fictitious. We're gonna watch a fictitious story about a fictitious play called Asteroid City. The movie Asteroid City, where like the actual meat of it happens, is the play. We occasionally, from that play, which is the movie, zoom back into the making of the play, where we have the cast and crew working to put together this play that we're watching. However, the cast and crew doesn't exist either, because they're just fiction. They were made up for Bryan Cranston's show. So, in addition to being the guy with the kids, Jason Schwartzman is also the actor playing him, having to emotionally inhabit this guy. It's a lot of shit. If you hear this and think "fuck off, asshole," I get it. Like, I do. Yeah.
I, however, think it's very funny because everything Tom just said, when I was getting that sort of dealt out to me by the movie, I was like, I want to see them try to stick this. Like, I don't know, this is interesting. Like, I'm not saying I know 100% what's going on, because at the time, like, especially with the backstage stuff, I was like, all right, I might need a minute to think on this. But yes, here's the other thing and this is important because it proved we're smart. In Modesty City, we were like, there's too many characters. What are we going to fucking do? And we had the very smart idea of just like, there's an act where everyone just gets introduced shamelessly.
Yeah, and the point of view character from that scene is just like, I will repeat your name a few more times. And then, like, after he meets a bunch of them, he's like, to review, the people I've met so far are... and, like, it's a gag. It's a funny gag, but it does work. And they do that shit in this, too.
I know. I felt so smart. I just was like, yes. I'm going to tell you about all these people. Are you listening? Here we go.
It's so good. Okay, so the plot, I'm not going to get, like, super into it, but, like, the basics. Asteroid City is this little dumpy piece of shit. It's a bunch of boxes. It's a box, which is the diner, and it's got the motor, like the motor community. It's like a motel, except every room is its own little, completely, perfectly square house.
They're like little cabanas.
Yeah, one of them is a tent because they tried to install state-of-the-art plumbing and electricity into one of the motor carriages, and it burned down. So now you have to stay in the tent. And they're like, I don't want to stay in a tent. He's like, well, you're staying in a tent.
You're 7.
So there's that. There's the little boxes. There is the fucking diner. There are the vending machines next to the motel boxes that are very funny. And then there's the crater, where the asteroid fell. And a bunch of people are coming to Asteroid City because there's some sort of science
competition. There's a nerd
competition.
contest.
Yeah. So we got nerds from all over the world. We got a nerd who is the daughter of Scarlett Johansson, is a famous movie actress. We got a nerd who has to stay in a tent. We got a nerd from the Girl Scouts. We got a nerd who's always daring people.
Nerd who's like always escalating with dares.
And he doesn't dare. When I say daring people, it sounds like he's asking other people to do stuff. It's like, do you dare me to jump off this roof? And they're like, no.
And then he does it. And his dad is pissed all the time because
can you imagine?
His kid is a nightmare.
Anyway, all this is to say, this is a Wes Anderson movie.
Bill Murray's in it.
No, Bill Murray had COVID, so they had to put Steve Carell in instead. He's fine. It's like a cameo role. But like,
his job is like, well, he's like basically the mayor of Asteroid City. What he is just running the little motor hotel, but that's like the town, so he's effectively a unitary executive. So his job is to just like explain stuff to both you and the other characters about how Asteroid City works, like how you can buy little plots of land from the vending machine.
The fucking real estate vending machine is so goddamn dumb. Again, gags, folks. And he's just like, yeah, you put $10 worth of quarters in that machine, which is like, Jesus Christ. Like, imagine being behind someone doing that, and like you get a plot of land, and it shows like the the little sticks that indicate the plots, and you're just buying the dumbest land of all time. Not even much. It's very funny. And then there's of course the actual crater with the scientist. Tilda Swinton is the scientist who's in charge of Asteroid City's research. She's desperate and wishes to have validation in her life. Anyway, a bunch of shit happens. Can I talk about Jeffrey Wright? Do you like this guy? I love every time Jeffrey Wright comes on my screen. I go, hell yeah! He is the general.
Oh, yeah, he was delightful. He was really good. I don't think I have like an opinion on him from other stuff other than this.
Okay.
But he was wonderful. He is a general from the military, and his job is to come in there and explain what's happening again, because there are reasons it goes under lockdown and stuff. So he's like also the guy in charge of like this science academy thing. So he also says motivational things, and it's kind of nice.
So the last Wes Anderson movie, The French Dispatch, was a sort of a minor work. I like it more than most people. It seems like a lot of people are really down on it. I thought it was fine. It's not great. However, the best part of that movie, by far, and I think a great scene in Anderson's oeuvre, is just Jeffrey Wright sitting in a chair, looking directly at the camera, and just giving a very heartfelt speech. A very well written speech that he's delivering in his way. His voice is just like, holy shit. He voiced someone in the Venture Brothers for like one episode, and then the character got killed off, and I was so pissed because I'm like, God damn it! I could listen to that motherfucker.
His voice projects so well.
It's so bassy, and yet, despite it being so deep, he's so good at like that super fast patter dialogue that Anderson gives him in his big speeches. And he does the exact same thing in this movie. I don't think he rarely ever has dialogue with another character. He's always giving very long speeches, and it's like perfect. Give me more of that. His fucking speeches in The French Dispatch about being a foreigner in a foreign land is incredible. I would urge you to seek it out, listener, if you haven't seen it. And here it is now. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Interrupt with a question.
Please, just permit me to dog-ear the page, mentally.
Beg your pardon. You've written about the American Negro, the French intellectual, the Southern romantic.
And the anti-Negro.
The anti-Negro. Scripture, mythology, folklore, true crime, false crime, the ghost story, the picaresque, the Bildungsroman. But more than anything, over all these years, you've written about food. Why?
Who, what, where, when, how, valid questions. But I learned as a cub stringer, never under any circumstance, if it is remotely within your power to resist the impulse, never ask a man why. It tightens a fellow up.
I apologize, but I'm going to hold you to
Torture.
it, if you'll agree.
Self-reflection is a vice best conducted in private or not at all. Well, I'll answer your question out of sheer weariness. But I truly don't know what I'm about to say. There is a particular sad beauty, well known to the companionless foreigner as he walks the streets of his adopted, preferably moonlit city, in my case, Ennui, France. I have so often shared the day's glittering discoveries with no one at all. But always, somewhere along the avenue or the boulevard, there was a table set for me. A cook, a waiter, a bottle, a glass, a fire. I chose this life. It is the solitary feast that has been very much like a comrade, my great comfort and fortification.
You remember where you placed the bookmark?
Of course, silly goose. Meanwhile.
Anyway, what the fuck are you talking about? These movies, I think it kicks ass. I'll say it.
Okay, so here are the set pieces. There's a science academy occurring.
It's a competition.
competition.
Yeah, all the nerds have brought inventions.
And then these are like real ass inventions, which is very amazing. I think this is kind of why this is why I sit down for a Wes Anderson movie for some stupid, weird whimsy like this. Like, one kid makes an actual laser gun.
Yeah.
It shoots lightning. The other fucking... what is the oldest son's name?
Woodrow.
Yeah. I, like, blacked out in the theater from this stupid invention. It was so fucking funny. He has, like... It looks like a little TV, right? And on the screen there's the moon, and then he turns a knob, and then the American flag appears on the moon on the screen, and then the camera pans up to the real moon, and the flag is there.
It's so fucking dumb. It's so good, folks. He eventually, I think, wins.
Yeah, everybody gets an award that has like a very specific name, and it's all very good.
Yeah, and a very just so designed medal. Give the production designers a bunch of fun little tasks to do. Design 5 medals. Anyway, all is going as planned, and there's going to be some sort of fucking astrological event that night,
like some type of eclipse, the kind where you go blind.
Yeah, you have to. It was, again, a long speech delivered directly to us. Tilda Swinton, as the doctor, describes that you have to wear this box over your head during the eclipse thing, so that you can see 3 dots, like an astrological ellipsis. You'll see 3 dots, but you have to wear the box. Otherwise, the 3 dots will be burned in your retinas, probably forever, which I know because I still see them from when I was 7 years old. And so they all put on their boxes, and as this event is occurring, an alien shows up, and man, oh man, what a reveal!
Okay, first of all, we said the boy loves his dioramas. He's making everybody put dioramas on their heads.
Oh yeah, because they're wearing boxes on their heads, big cardboard boxes, perfectly square dioramas.
Tilda Swinton says there's going to be 3 lights that show up. The sort of like, oh fuck, something's happening, is that there's a 4th light.
It's the alien.
The alien is a stop motion freak that is so fucking funny. So it's giant UFO hovers, and it lowers itself down on like a pogo stick to pick up the asteroid from Asteroid City that it's so named. And as it's happening, everyone is like panning their heads to watch the alien the same way like the Wes Anderson shots pan. So it's layers. And then the alien takes the asteroid and goes back up in the ship and leaves.
What's so fucking funny is that the whole, like, the acting of the animation on this stop motion alien is like, he's clearly so surprised that there's people there. And is like, if I go slow enough, maybe they won't notice.
Yeah. What does the alien look like? Tom, I told you that it was good that it had like a crater texture, because if it did not, buddy, that is full body blackface.
Yeah, it's not.
That is not okay. That is not okay. Yeah, the alien looks like it's an all black, like
really long
feature.
limbs.
Yeah, and it's covered in like craters.
Yeah, and it's got like claws and claw toes that are like very clearly like mechanical like hinges. Like it looks like a doll, you know, like, or rather a stop motion, you know, doll with like points of articulation. The fact that the toe joints are not hidden at all, not even intended to be hidden, is like, I think that's a fun little touch. And yeah, because of the alien encounter, everyone is locked down, and they cannot leave the Asteroid City. They're under quarantine, under lockdown, they call it. And spoilers to the end of the movie. And they all decide that the alien encounter wasn't that dangerous and everyone can just leave, which is a big metaphor for how Wes Anderson thinks COVID was a hoax.
Yes. Also, he says it at the start of the movie. He's like, I am so pleased I could get you to come out to see the movies. Remember, COVID wasn't real.
Yeah. You believe it too because you're in a big movie theater, aren't you? No, he doesn't think COVID's not real. I'm being facetious. Anyway, so why do I like this movie so goddamn much? Well, one, I like this stupid fucker's style that he's been cultivating over his entire career. Simply put, folks, Dem's pretty pictures. The dioramas look really neat. That
I get why he does them. I get it. Like, if I could make them, I would do that too.
I mean, like, I could tell you the standard film Twitter defenses, which is to say, a film is a visual medium. Why would you not intentionally craft a bespoke visual as often as you can during your film? Whatever. It's all ways to pretty up I like a da pretty pictures, which is what it is. And what I think is very funny is that, like all visual styles, some people aren't gonna like it. And so some people see that fucking Wes Anderson shit and they're like, I don't like that. Well, what's especially funny is when someone sees that and says, I don't like that, and like has to like write that like it's morally wrong that this exists at all. Like, there was some fucking Jacobin review where like the writer was like, when I see Wes Anderson movies, I fly into a frothing rage. I'm just like, chill out.
I think a lot of people only see the twee aspect, and it's twee on the surface, but it's like, and many times like actively making fun of its like own artifice, as we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And fucking every single one of these fuckers, fucking Life Aquatics, Grand Budapest Hotel, Royal Tenenbaums, like all these movies are like, you glance at them and they're very twee and arranged just so, and all the characters are delivering their lines very stoically, doing a lot of no-selling.
I do think that is something we should address, which is that like there is such a Wes Anderson character way of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone talks like a gifted child.
Yes.
Even the gifted children.
But like the point being that even with all like that's what you just look at. But like every single one of these movies, like you actually watch it and it's like, oh, actually there's like a really clear emotional through line that comes across like really, really, it's not hidden, it's not subtext. Though it looks like fakey and diorama-y, and you think like these actors are just they're so above it all. They're directed to be above it all. Where's the soul? Where's the substance behind this style? For me, it's like the substance is right fucking there. Like, what? Like, what? Can't you tell? And this movie's got a lot of it because all these motherfuckers in this town are so fucked up. Obviously, Jason Schwartzman's character, who, again, he's like the perfect Wes Anderson actor, and thus he's been in like all of his movies. He's so good at delivering these lines where his face is an impassive mask and he betrays no emotion in his tone. However, his wife just died. He's miserable. You can tell very clearly that like this is a sad boy.
He's a sad boy. Tom said he was a photographer, but he is specifically a war photographer.
Mm-hmm. He always says he doesn't take permission. He doesn't ask permission before he takes a picture. And whenever he ever takes a picture and someone asks, "Is that going to come out?" he says, "All my pictures come out." And it was as I was trying to figure out the puzzle of the movie, I remembered, holy shit. In Barton Fink, they're constantly talking about pictures. They mean both pictures like a picture on the wall, but also movies. You call movies pictures sometimes, motion pictures. You might even say, all my pictures come out. All my pictures come out. Why, he's playing Wes Anderson himself, isn't he? And then, but of course, all the characters are Wes Anderson himself. I fucking in The Secret Project, which holy shit, it's coming out very soon. I swear to God. there was a bit during the casting call where a person who was auditioning for a certain character asked me, like, is this character like an asshole? Like, do I read this like an asshole, like kind of annoying? And I'm like, oh, no. This character is not an asshole. They're good. They're smart because they're me. And as I said that, I'm like, well, actually, all of them are me. And I think that's just, if you ever write an ensemble fucking piece of fiction, all of them are you. Okay, it's how it is. But yeah, all of it, the whole fucking thing, the whole like point of the movie, why it's doing all these stupid things, why it's got all these stupid framing devices and silly fucking boxes, is all about like why make art in this way. Because like the framing device is all about like the production of a play, you know, like putting things on a stage just so, on a little constrained space of a stage, and like putting on this little show, you know, act like inhabiting these characters and putting like portraying these emotions, and like why do it. And the big sort of climactic deal is like in the near the very end of the movie, Jason Schwartzman's character leaves the set, which is like the story, and goes into black and white, you know, 4x3 world to talk to the director. And he's like, hey, I don't really understand what the point of this play is, and I don't know what I should be doing, and I don't know why my character feels or acts the way he does. All I know is that I feel like I'm dying up there every night. I really don't understand what's going on. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing up there. And the director's like, you're doing fine. Just keep going. All my pictures turn out. He doesn't say that then, but in my head, I add it later.
The only feedback he gives him, which I think is really funny, is Jason Schwartzman's character is like always fiddling with a pipe. Like he's like always about to be smoking, or like finishing smoking, or loading the pipe. And like the one piece of feedback Adrian Brody's character, the director, gives him is you're doing too much pipe stuff.
Yeah, yeah, because in general he's like trying to reassure him. But, like, he's got to give him some notes. Like, well, you're not perfect. And it's like, you're doing too much with the pipe.
When that was said, I was relieved, because even by, like, the stupid standards of the movie, I was like, this seems like a lot of fiddling.
Another great fucking bit. This is just more of, like, this isn't, like, I'm explaining the theme. This is a bit that I thought was so fucking clever. There's a scene early on where the actor playing Jason Schwartzman's character meets the writer of the play and basically earns the role by doing a monologue from the script, from a bit that was not, like, apparently cut from the script that gets produced, because it's like the monologue he gives is not in the movie. And after he has wowed the writer with his monologue, basically, you got the part, you are him, you have defined this role. They talk about, like, bits from the script coming up, and, like, talk about the character's motivation. And he says, Jason Schwartzman's like, I think my character burns his hand on the grill because he needs an excuse for why his heart was beating so fast. And, like, we're like, huh? Burns his hand on the what? Huh? What? Huh? And the writer's like, oh my God, I never thought of that. I just sort of wrote it that way. Because, you know, sometimes the characters take on a life of their own. I never thought about why he did it. Oh, that's very interesting. And then, like, 45 minutes later, he's talking to Scarlett Johansson from his little box across the way into her little box. And she's there forming a relationship. And, brother, he's getting horny.
He's got a dang boner. And as we know, the best way to stop one is to burn yourself with a hot plate.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's that shit they talked about from before. It happened. I'm such a fucking rube. I really am. Like,
it's a very basic storytelling thing, but anytime I am given the following format, X is gonna happen. Are you ready? And then, like, a bunch of shit happens, and then X happens, and I'm like, wow, that was so impressive.
Like, my
wife, they called it.
My wife will tell you that if I see a magic trip, even a magic trip where like you can pretty easily guess what it was, I like lose my mind. I'm like a dog. You didn't come to this because you were busy, but there was a joint birthday party for some of our buddies, and they hired a magician to like be the entertainment.
Like to do close-up magic, right?
Yes.
Is that the term?
Yeah, me and Gwen went there together. And buddy, every single trick this guy did, I was like, I was scared that I would not be able to hold the amount of joy I was feeling in my body, like it would leak out somehow. It was incredible, and like that same fucking thing. This thing where like X will happen and then it happens is the same thing as like taking a coin, putting it on the table, putting a piece of fucking handkerchief over the coin. The magician goes, look over there. I look behind me. I look back. He lifts the handkerchief. The coin's gone. Wow! Yeah, that's me every time this shit happens. I love it. I don't know. I think possibly a reason that I was so enamored with this, whereas you just thought it was pretty good, is because I did just, I'm thinking about it now, I did just write a big, long piece of fiction
with a lot of characters.
Cast.
Yeah, so that might have hit home. What I really like about it is, like, the alien event is so huge that it's like, okay, we set up these characters, and now this nuclear event occurs, and it's just like, let's watch the bugs in the jar and how they react to this. I fucking love it. There's like 2 scenes where the kids are supposed to be learning about science and space.
This is so good.
And like after the alien, like the poor girl teaching is trying to talk about the planets, and like the kids are like, what do you think the alien eats? What do you think the alien's doing right now? And like that's true. Like when the fuck else would they talk about? And the second time it happens, the boy at the end of the table is like, I wrote a song about the alien. And they fucking like there's like a bluegrass group that is there for some reason, and they know the song.
Yeah, they're just like, we heard this old partner coming together with a little jangle, so we decided to fucking back him up. And also, though, the leader of the band and the teacher are also forming a relationship. It's so the fucking kid. She's just like, so Neptune is the 7th planet, and they're just like, which one of these does the alien land on?
She keeps acknowledging that like everything here might be wrong, but as far as we know,
yeah, and it's like, this is the lesson. Like, kids, it's lesson time, but this is the only lesson I know. Sorry. There's like when they're locked down, all the genius kids form like a resistance cell to like clandestinely research the alien and also get information out of the lockdown. And there's a very cute scene where the Tilda Swinton character like finds that they've stolen a lot of her stuff from the lab, and they're like, don't be mad, we did it for a good cause. And she's like, I'm not mad, but why didn't you conclude me? It's like, I'm smart too. And it's very cute. Fuck. All of this is to say, the movie fucking whips. And now the more I think about it, it's 1,000% the reason I like it so much is because it's because I just wrote a big, huge ensemble piece. Because the whole fucking thing, all these themes that keep coming up, when he fucking goes behind the stage and says, I don't understand the play, what am I supposed to do? There's a thing that they keep saying over and over: you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. Because like the guy is like, I want this play. The writer is like, I want my play Asteroid City to kind of feel like a dream where you're sort of floating in an otherworldly yet familiar place. Doesn't understand what's going on. I mean, the whole fucking thing is all. And another thing is, they always say, like, when faced with, I don't know what I'm doing, what's happening, is just keep going. You're doing fine. Just keep going. The play's fine. You're doing a great job. I mean, it's all about how, you know how in life some shit happens that's confusing and sad and bad, and you wonder what's the purpose for all this? What's the reason? And you make your little movie, and you feel compelled to make dioramas and boxes, and you're like, what's the reason for all this? Why am I putting this shit in a diorama in a box? I don't understand. Like, is there a what purpose does that serve? It's all fuck. It's just it's interesting. I like it.
I am also thinking of some box analogs in some other films. In Life Aquatic, we have the 4:3 aspect ratio for the actual documentary films. Those are themselves boxes. The End of Rushmore, he puts on a play about Vietnam. That's itself a box. And box is an old-timey word for pussy.
It is.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say that in gangster movies. You hate to hear it.
Yeah.
Fucking, you can't wake up, you don't fall asleep. You gotta just let it go. Try your best. All my pictures turn out. I think it whips ass. I mean, there's all this like highfalutin, highbrow stuff about like creating art, and it's impossible to know what's happening in your soul when you create art. You just have to go with it. You have to feel it. And you can't feel it a right or wrong way. Oh, that's another fucking thing. I've learned about this on Twitter. Jason Schwartzman, the guy, not even one of the many layers of the character, was like, did an interview where he said, like, doing Asteroid City unlocked a sense memory in me of when first my family died. And my mom told me, and I was a little kid at the time, that there's no right or wrong way to feel. And I didn't understand what she meant by that. And then the fucking experience of being in Asteroid City made me understand, like, oh, grief is an unknowable feeling that can never be fully defined because it's beyond our comprehension, and therefore whatever means one has to deal with it is the right way. I get it now, and it's just like, man, this is so fucking meta. I love meta. People get all up about meta and say, oh, it's so pretentious. I don't give a fuck. Give me that shit.
There's a balance. I don't think this crosses the line, but there is an up your own ass feeling with the meta stuff that can be off-putting. I don't know. I like, for instance, like, I don't know, when I stopped watching Community, and I know there was a bad season, I did not watch the bad season, but it did feel at times like it was under the weight of its own lore. And that was a result of all the meta stuff. But then again, that's a TV show and not like a dang picture.
Yeah. I think for the Wes Anderson movies in particular, for me, because I do like the fucking style, the sort of meta bits, I don't care. It's earned because, you know, it's up its own ass with its message about art and grief. However, Days is pretty pictures. And I like the pictures. I like the jokes. And they're funny to me. So, like, I can forgive a lot. And also, like, the big ensemble cast. I love the big ensemble cast. I mean, like you were afraid there would be too many characters. The saving grace is twofold. One, most of the, like, big names in the ensemble cast are, like, bit roles who have, like, 3 lines. And also, like, they do have that bit at the beginning where they just name all the important people and be like, remember these ones, okay? So that's good. But, like, I think it's very fun how it's so obvious that, like, every famous actor, because if you are a famous actor in these days, it's because you're in a superhero movie or some other big budget action movie. You can't get famous without doing those. And so it's very clear when these Wes Anderson cast lists get released and it's like every fucking person you've ever heard of. It's like, oh, they're all just like, excuse me, please. I would love to do some real acting.
Can I play in the dollhouse? I don't want to be Marvel anymore.
Yes, yeah, can I fucking play a character, please? And, like, he's one of the few directors who, like, gets fucking movies in theaters regularly still, Even fucking Martin Scorsese doesn't get movies in theaters anymore. He gets movies in theaters regularly where you get to play a real character.
That is true. I think we should end on this, is that I'm surprised you haven't seen Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I need to see that shit.
The reason I think you'll like it is because, like, okay, the source material is obviously a children's book. We're talking, like, bare bones stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So do you see how you get to fill in everything else with just Wes Anderson bullshit? Like,
Yeah,
the plot is so straightforward. It's for children, obviously. So he basically gets to just freestyle using this kid's book as a launch pad, and it's, of course, visually impressive. It's funny. Everything is felt, which is fun. You'll like it. I know you will.
I gotta see that. Although I as much as I agree, like, I will watch that. It sounds like it's right up my alley. Very likely, I'll probably just watch the Grand Budapest Hotel again. That shit is so fucking good. Ralph Fiennes as the concierge is one of the, like, all-time comedy performances in a movie. My God, he's funny.
Just, like, perfect casting. Just flawless.
When he is at the scene where they read the old lady's will and he gets given the big fucking painting that costs $1 million, and the evil son calls him a fruit, and he just responds, well, how is that supposed to make me feel? God damn. I don't understand how anyone could dislike that movie. It's funny and it's cool. This whole fucking episode's been an hour to say these movies are funny and look cool.
Do you like the dioramas? If yes, I encourage you to look at more diorama movies.
And if you don't like dioramas,
stay
chill
the
out
fuck
about
away.
it.
Or I guess watch Bottle Rocket. That's his first one. I don't think he had his love for boxes, old-timey word for pussy, at that time.
Yeah. Or maybe he just didn't know about boxes yet.
That could be true, too.
He hadn't heard of them. That's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. It's their first morning episode. Could you tell a difference in the energy?
I love it.
I'm glad. I'm starting to feel my coffee now.
Well, that's good, because we're done.
Okay, bye-bye. I've been Tom and Anime Sicko.
I'm Joe and Anime Sicko.
See ya. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at Sharia Uncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.